being here today, but it's the messages we're giving out. It's the messages of positive and knowing that whatever it is you're putting out there, that people all over the world are watching, and they're listening, and they're absorbing. So part of this class is to really discuss those messages and those images and how we're communicating through the medium of film.
Hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come love, baby. Look at that sky, life's begun. Nights are warm and the days are young. Come love, baby. There's my baby lost, that's all. What I'm begging you save a little soul. Last night they loved you, opening doors and pulling some strings. Angel, come love the baby. In walked luck and you looked in time. Never look back, walk tall, act fine. Come love the baby. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years.
So, we're going to start off. I'm going to give you the producer. We've got a producer, director, cameraman. We've got the whole team here, okay? So enjoy the show, and I'll start with you, my dear. This is team one.
The director, my name is Jasmine Perez.
This is the DP.
I'm the director of photography. I'm Sergio.
I'm Ariana Marshall, the editor.
Gianna Renly, and I have the casting department.
Gianna Montalvo, and I'm an actress. And I'm Alex Gutierrez, wardrobe.
I'm Gabriel Perez. I'm in charge of the lighting.
I'm Janice Minnesota. I'm in charge of sound.
I'm Jackie Tollard. I'm in charge of set design.
Let's give them a hand.
Okay, and now we're going to show you the original scene. Ready when you are. Okay, now you know what we're in for. I love it. Thanks, you guys. Okay, so that was The Godfather. And what did you decide you were going to do then?
Okay, now I'm going to pass it to the director, and she's going to tell you guys about what the whole mission.
So what the plan was is that we were going to apply the German expressionism style with him. The film was going to be in black and white, and we were going to have a couple shots with chiaroscuro lighting, which, if you don't know, is applying like a bold contrast between light and shadow in the shots, which Citizen Kane usually utilizes that a lot. And in this scene, we're doing a female protagonist instead of a male protagonist, and they receive the horse head threat. And we start with the establishing shot of the apartment, just like here. And when she gets out of bed, we use the song "Goodbye Horses" by Q Lazarus that shows up in Silence of the Lambs, and that's the song that the protagonist is listening to in the beginning. Then she heads over to the shower, and there we try to recreate this sort of like Alfred Hitchcock psycho shower scene. And we have our protagonist in the shower. There are like droplets of blood coming down from the ceiling while she's showering, and she doesn't notice it, but the audience does. And eventually, when she notices, she looks up, she goes into a state of panic, and then screaming, kind of like Shelley Duvall does in The Shining. And we get the shot pans out, there's the echo when she screams, and the scene ends over.
Excellent, excellent, very creative. Okay, so that's our director with her vision.
I'm the director of photography, so I'm going to talk about a little bit of what exactly is going to happen in each aspect of the film. Pretty much, obviously, we're going to talk about the German expressionistic style. Given that it's going to be black and white and grayscale, what we want to do is use the other aspects of the film to complement that aspect. We're going to use, a sound crew that's going to, more than anything, complement the lights and shadows. Given that we're going to start with an establishing shot, then we're going to zoom in. We're going to also use kind of like how the German expressionists did low angles or very odd types of angles that are not really the way that most people would expect to be filmed. We're going to use those types of angles. We're going to have, more than anything, the lighting complement everything else. So also with the panning out after she screams, we're going to have the camera shaking, kind of saying that what's taking place is also affecting the aspects of the cinematography to more than anything wrap it up. I'm going to pass it over to the set design.
Okay, for our set design, we are going to be in as she said, a New York City apartment. This is the apartment from the outside. The flooring is a wood floor. It's set in the 80s, so this is 80s theme. And some tacky glass blocks as the shower. And even though it's black and white, I brought some colors that the tile will be like this color, and maybe some wallpaper in this tacky yellow. And the toilet is pink. And of course, we can't forget the horse head.
What are you guys doing? What's in the film?
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. Okay, again, this class has been able to learn how to take different genres and move it into from one to another and understand lighting, sound, and everything else that goes on. Okay, here we go.
As a producer, I decided to shed light on the film Life is Beautiful, and at this time I would like to introduce my crew. This is the director.
Well, I'm director of photography, Sylvia.
Sound, Millia.
I did wardrobe. My name is Gigi.
My name is Juan. I did casting director, plus I have a small time role.
My name is Jennifer, and I'm the editor.
The other Jennifer, I'm doing lighting.
And my name is Sergio, and I'm doing set design.
Alright, and I'm the director, Anthony. Basically, with this movie, it touches on Italian Italian neorealism, and the thing is, that's the whole thing of, it's sad, and it's dark, and it's talking about something that, is serious, but it keeps the mood alive and funny and comical throughout. So then what we wanted to do with this movie is, for this scene exactly, there's a guard talking in German, because the movie is originally Italian, talking about the Holocaust. And the guard is talking in German, and a father of a child is translating the guard, but he's completely mistranslating it entirely because he wants to protect his child and tell them that the Holocaust is basically a game that they're taking part in. But then with what we wanted to do with the film was we wanted to touch upon another Holocaust or genocide of the sort. So we decided to do the Armenian genocide, which not a lot of people, study even. So with that, we just had to keep the same theme alive of Italian neorealism and keeping it lighthearted, but with Armenian genocide being darker and much grittier, we wanted it to be exactly that. So it's going to be more serious, but it's going to keep that comical, same aspect of Italian neorealism.
Wow, that sounds really good. Okay, can we run the film now, please? Thank you.
Louis die Fragole. Bei diesem Pfiff! Alles raus auf den Hof, aber schnell! Non chiedete i lecca-lecca perché non ve li danno, ce li mangiamo tutti noi. Antreten in Zweierreihe. Io ieri ne ho mangiati 20. Schwein! Un mal di pancia. Jeden Morgen. Però erano buoni. Ist Appell. Lascia fare. So, das wollte ich euch noch sagen. Dort hinten werdet ihr arbeiten. Ihr werdet die Dimensionen des Lagers leicht begreifen. Scusate se vado di fretta, ma oggi sto giocando a nascondino. Ora vado, se no mi fanno tana.
But we wanted it to be like still dark. So the guard shows up, someone's talking while he's talking, he shoots him. And then the father has to say instantly, you see that? You see that little girl? Like he lost the game. And that's how it goes. And then, you know, but he's keeping that trend alive of like still making it fun, making it laughable. So it's like satiric, but it's really just like still dark. And for people who understand like the severity of like what's going on in the situation, like that's how you know it's Italian neorealism inspired. Just like throughout the whole scene while everybody's talking, and as the guard exits, then that's why he shoots him, just because he's been talking the whole time. So it's dark, obviously, because you're killing somebody, but we wanted to make that itself the act of lighthearted. So yeah, I was like 2 copies away from making this a musical with Zachary Levi on set. But yeah,
we made it a little bit hard for Jennifer on editing because not only were Zach and Adam breaking character every now and then, but me groaning just ended up making them just ball out completely.
And I think that's the best transition that we can do to our editor.
Well, yeah, they did make it difficult with all of their laughing, but we did try to change the scene. As all of my colleagues have mentioned, we tried to make it a lot darker, but one of our concerns by making the actual scene physically darker is not being able to see the expression of the people. So in these scenes, most of the shots are mid shots of the guard with the protagonist, the father, and then of the son, and then it pans out to a wide shot of the rest of the prisoners. But instead of doing that, what we wanted to do was do more close-ups of individual prisoners, of the father, of the daughter. We also wanted to do a scene where we close up on the guard, but you have the voiceover of the father saying things like, you know, if you do this, then you win 10 lollipops, just to show like how different, you know, this guard who's so serious is compared to the monologue that the father is presenting as the translation. So we still wanted to keep that comedy. A lot of that, I think, comes in through the editing because it's a rapid, you know, close-up of different expressions, seeing how everyone in the room is feeling, so that it's still dark, but it still has that comedic component.
Action.
Slate Team 2, The Dark Knight Rises, Batman vs. Bane.
But mistaken. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but bright.
I'm going to turn it over to the gang and let's see what the movie is. And hi, Melissa.
Hey guys, nice to see you guys through video screen at Thank God for Technology. Apologize for not being able to meet with you guys. I'm really sick and I'm on a set of another film location, but I know my team and cast who are there are gonna thoroughly represent our team properly.
Hi guys, my name is Alexandra Carrillo and I'm the director of photography for this film. Since we wanted a post-apocalyptic feel to this film, what I wanted to do is I took my crew and all my cameramen. We actually went to actual sewage pipes down in Gotham City, New York, because I wanted to feel that mystery and that fear that I wanted my viewers to feel as well. So since it is post-apocalyptic, it's going to be darker than what usual films would be. So what we did is we had a lot more close-up shots, because since we are bringing such a huge plot twist to you guys, as Bane being his father and all, we wanted to make a close-up of his face to see his emotion as he's revealed the secret. So you're going to see a lot of close-up shots and a lot of darker, more cringy feel to that film.
Actually a little more difficult than I thought it would be. I went through a lot of different genres. I started off with darker films such as horror films. Found that it didn't really fit the post-apocalyptic feel. I then went to suspense, which is actually slightly part of it at the end, when he's about to take off his mask. And what we're really looking at is, I pulled sound from somewhere that I didn't think, an animated film from 2009, it's called 9.
and it's a post-apocalyptic film that had a lot of sounds, listened to the soundtrack, and it really helped emphasize the sound that I was going for.
I'm the producer. This is Dylan. He's the director of the movie. This is Yulisa. She's the director of photography of the movie. We have Juan, who's our actor, so fab. And then we have Bassard, who is our editor. Then we have Jordan, who's our lighting. And then we have Stephanie, who is our wardrobe. Amanda, who's our set design. We decided to do Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Our idea was to do opposite of what the movie had done. Sci-fi, big blockbuster, we're doing it opposite. This time is Harry Potter in the real world. It's going to be very interesting to see Harry Potter without his magic and just like in the real world, living real world problems. It was interesting because when I had the idea and I came up with Dylan, and he's like, what? That's insane. But when we did the storyboard, when we had the idea, we were just like, it works. And when we decided to do this, we wanted an actor who was very down to earth, can fit the role, and we decided to do Juan to do the role. And we worked previously, all three together. So it worked out perfectly.
With the clip, we wanted to make the film, like Miriam said, a little more realistic and more grounded, because like kind of incorporating more realistic aspects of his world into the real world. So kind of if you read literature like magical realism, kind of want to make everything look like it's just a normal day. We also wanted to include kind of a Hispanic vibe to it, so that's one of the aspects that we chose. So kind of, if you've seen anything that Guillermo del Toro has done, we wanted to not make it horrifying like most of his movies are, because they're all scary, but kind of include like the Spanish flavor to it. So yeah, the influence, kind of more colors, because in most of the movie it's dark, which kind of sucks. I don't like those kind of movies. And more upbeat music, but I'll let my crew kind of go into that more. So Miriam and I kind of just like discussed how we can make Harry Potter more relatable, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, hi, my name is Bassard, I'm the editor, and like they said, for the Quidditch scene, there's a lot of dark colors because there's a rainstorm during the games, and there's also a lot of fade in and fade out, especially when Harry Potter's falling down after he gets attacked by the Dementor. There's a fade out, so the scene just goes completely dark, and we're just thinking it would be a lot better if instead of all being dark, maybe when he was falling down, instead of being a complete fade out, it would be a slow change from bright, you know, Latin flavored colors, so to say, into more of a dark place after he fell down when he was injured and attacked by the Dementors. We just felt it would be a lot better that way.
Hey, it's Dylan. In communication and film, we learned a lot about being a part of a team. On my team, I got to play the part of the director, and now I get to play the part of editor. Communication in film is a really important class because, again, it's a global learning course, and it kind of gives us a view into all the other aspects of the world that we wouldn't normally, be interested in seeing. Of course, film is international and it goes on everywhere, but we usually think of film as just here in the US. But in communication and film, we got a chance to see films from the German Expressionism movement and Italian neorealism, and from just all over the world. We saw films from Laurel and Hardy and Shirley Temple, even rewatching classics like Casablanca and Citizen Kane. In communication and film, we learned about how there's really no original stories, and we kind of learned that it's more so about the way that each generation tells the story more than about the story itself. So the way that we might talk about the damsel in distress and the hero knight is drastically different than the way that it's been told before, and it's definitely going to be different than the way that it's told in the future. But it's more about the message that the story tells than about what's actually being said.
Life is a big mystery, isn't it? It always has been. I think people are intrigued by mystery to find out about things they don't know anything about. That's a mystery.
But surely not as sensational as you make it seem.
Life is more sensational. I would say that, how does one describe drama? Drama is life with the dull bits cut out.
I think that FIU should really invest in a full-fledged film program because a lot of the students have an interest in going into the film industry, and for FIU to really allow us to be able to compete with other schools who have four-year degree programs, we really need that kind of extra motivation and that extra amount of time we have.